Before I start the show, please check out our new website, FNRadpodcast.com, and buy one of our mystery $5 items to get an entry into a draw for a PJ Gustafson Death Label snowboard. Pause and do it now, please. We're trying to raise at least $1,000 for the Save a Brain Foundation, our friends at World Indigenous Sports and Health Foundation, and Burton's Chill Foundation. Thanks, you guys. Welcome to Season 11 of FNRad, a podcast where I talk to snowboarders. The past 10 years have had a profound effect on the course of my life, and I'm blown away when I think of all the people who have supported the show. This year, some of the sponsors have changed, most notably Wired Snowboards. Since the beginning of FNRad, I've been so stoked to make boards 10 minutes from my house with my old friend Rob Dow, who I met in '93, and my new friend Pepe at their Vancouver factory. And we've made so many fun project boards together, from a Mike Filelli custom graphic with Mike's permission to a powder board made from a piece of cedar shaped by years of floating on a remote lake high up in the mountains. I've still got a brand new Shorty's custom crayon graphic with a core made from Mount Seymour grown yellow cedar. I'll cherish my memories with Wired forever. When I look back, which is something I learned to do from the show, my greatest support has been from my family. My wife TL has helped me grow so much as a person, and my kids, Emma and Bowen, are my biggest inspirations, and both have found their path to authenticity through following their passions. That's as much as any dad could ever ask for. 10 years of interviews has given me a lot of perspective, and I've learned a lot about what it took to be a pro snowboarder and a lot about the passion in the people that drove so much snowboarding innovation over the last 40 years. And with that perspective, I want to thank you, the listener. And I'm actually talking to you, because I wish I could thank each and every one of you in person for giving me the opportunity to bring you these conversations. You could be listening to anything. When you choose FNRad, it gives me the best feeling in the world, pride in what we've done as a community together. So let's get to Season 11. The snow is falling, and someone texted me that there's 9 feet in the forecast for Baker over the next 10 days. Fucking rad. The FNRad Snowboard Podcast is presented by Flojoy Water. Season 7 is sponsored by Burton Snowboards, founded in 1977 by Jake Burton Carpenter. With nearly 50 years of industry-leading innovation, Burton's purpose is clear: make great products, minimize harm to the environment, positively impact the lives they touch, and have as much fun as possible. All the Burton gear I've been riding is next level. For listeners in the Lower Mainland, Burton recently opened a flagship store on West 4th in Vancouver, as well as a partner store in Banff with Unlimited. Visit your local Burton retailer. Bluebird Coffee Tuning and Rentals in Squamish, BC is the coolest new stop just 20 seconds off the Sea to Sky Highway on your way to Whistler. Drop in for the world's best cup of coffee, killer smoothies, and a true local vibe born out of 90s snowboard culture and music. They offer performance ski and snowboard tunes with state-of-the-art equipment. They've got premium rental fleets of Jones, Solomon, Libtech, and Burton, including Burton Step-Ons. And if you haven't gotten yourself one yet, Bluebird will even sell you a rad power bike. These bikes are so fun. For a blend of expert knowledge, convenience, and a lot of charm, stop in and say hi to Bluebird, the raddest mandatory new stop on your way to Whistler. Fixed bindings are tool-free bindings that focus on dependability and strength while providing ease of adjustability. I've been riding fixed bindings for a couple of seasons now and have had exactly 0 issues. It's no wonder they've got a lifetime guarantee. Do yourself a favor and visit fixbindingco.com. Anon Optics. Lock in and let go with Anon's Magnatech quick lens change technology, creating effortless lens swaps on the fly. Enhance contrast and clarity with perceived lenses and get the most accurate perception of the surrounding environment, regardless of light and weather conditions. Clarity starts where distraction ends. Full face coverage, complete presence. Check out Anon's helmets, goggles, and face masks at an Anon dealer near you or at burton.com. Upline Brewing helps you stay sharp, feel good, and keep doing what you love with their Steezy Golden Lager and Crushing IPA mood-enhancing non-alcoholic beer. Infused with adaptogens like lemon balm and ginseng, you can enjoy a crisp, refreshing brew that's low in calories, big on flavor, and perfect for easy sipping after or even during a killer shred day, or any time that calls for a cold can of celebration. Enhanced with adaptogens to naturally boost mood, Upline non-alcoholic beer is brewed using traditional methods. Check out uplinebrewing.com and treat yourself to the best tasting non-alcoholic beer in the world. Support also comes from the Pro Standard. Ken Achenbach has done it again with the push-button quick release for step-on bindings. Get them at prostandard.com before they sell out. Pacific Border, Vancouver's premium snow skate and surf shop on West 4th Avenue. Check out pacificborder.com. And 1910, the collaborative artworks of Jamie Lynn and Scof, two friends on a creative journey together, bonded by their love of art, music, and snowboarding. Go to the number 9teen10.com for their latest collection. We need to thank our friends at Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, and Cypress Mountain for their continued support of FNRad, as well as Essential Toothpaste tabs. I love them. I use them. Go buy them today. Jamie Meiselman was the managing editor of Transworld Snowboarding magazine from 1993 to 1995, a time period that saw explosive growth and also my favorite time period in snowboarding history. Jamie grew up in New Jersey, but I met him through Ken Achenbach during a recent trip to China. The Jamie Meiselman story is a fun one, full of twists and turns. In fact, it's exactly what I would call FNRad. Enjoy.
I haven't been here in a while, but it's 3 cities, right? Dongguan, Shenzhen, Guangzhou. I'm sure I just butchered all the pronunciations.
Sure, yeah,
but
I wouldn't know.
Dongguan alone is 10 million people, and apparently Shenzhen's like more than double that, and so is Guangzhou. Like that's like so. There's like 5 New York City populations within about an hour of here, which is pretty wild. But
so, are your factory guys a throwback to your life in snowboarding before?
Yeah.
So people that you've known?
No, not really. But I currently run Solite boots, which is surfing boots, and now we make gloves and a bunch of other accessories.
Neoprene boots.
Yeah, well, a little bit of neoprene, but our whole kind of claim to fame is it's heat moldable. So just takes you right into snowboarding. Is I have a background in snowboarding boots, so I did work for Airwalk back in the day. I was the one that discovered Intuition custom fit snowboard liners.
I absolutely love this.
Airwalk. I was a consultant for Airwalk while I was an editor at Transworld, which was probably a conflict of interest. And
right,
the Airwalk guys were like, "Hey, these Canadian dudes apparently have some cool liner technology. You want to fly up to Vancouver and check it out?" So they flew me up.
Who did you meet with? Rob? And
I think Rob is must be the guy.
Yeah,
and this has got to be mid 90s.
It's got to be 91 or 92 even. Actually, because they wind up going with 32, but years later.
No, they went with Airwalk first.
They did Airwalk.
The Airwalk Evolution was the first boot that used the heat moldable Intuition liner, and it weighed nothing. That was the thing. The boot was you picked
so light.
Yeah. Solite is the name of my company because it's the same response that people have when they pick up my boots. Yeah. So Solite is heat moldable snowboard or surf boots.
Yeah.
But it all came back from when I met these Intuition guys, and they took me to like some little 10 by 10 room in Vancouver somewhere. I literally flew up for the day.
It was a little. It probably was a little house in the middle of kind of nowhere, painted all different colors, and it was tiny. It was very tiny.
Yeah. And they sat me down. They took this piece of EVA foam that was like bright yellow, and it was like, 15 millimeters thick.
Yeah.
And they like glued it and put it in a convection oven.
Yep.
Took it out, put it on my foot, and then stuck it in a snowboard boot and heat molded it. And they're like, okay, go home and go test these out. I'm like, all right, And things freaking worked. Because at the time it was like the polyurethane Dale boot liners or just like stitched ski boot liners that were pretty crude.
Yeah.
And these were like half the weight and they fit perfectly.
And the Airwalk Evolution,
Yeah.
now that you're blowing my mind because I forgot, there was like the Advantage and the Free Ride.
Those were first.
Yeah, those were first. And the Freestyle, then they had the Extreme, and the Evolution was like kind of above the Extreme.
The Evolution
like,
kind of came, and it was like a last minute thing. Like Sin was the guy there, Sin Agelja. Guys,
I don't remember.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's no longer with us, but that guy was unbelievable, and he was a skateboarder, but became kind of the creative genius behind Airwalk. He's the guy.
Sick.
Yeah,
sick.
I could spend. I don't even know him that well, but that guy's incredible. But anyway, yeah, like he somehow turned that liner into a product line like almost overnight, and that the Evolution came out, and it was also the first time they used like an injection molded lower boot instead of like, everything was vulcanized and stitched and everything.
Right.
And and that boot came out and it was like half the weight. Because remember, Airwalk boots when they came out were tanks.
They were still heavy
so
at this
heavy.
point. Yeah.
So this was like the polar opposite of that. And then anyway, that sort of left an impression on me, no pun intended.
Airwalk was one of the big companies, right?
Yeah.
Like there was Simpson Burton,
Yeah.
absolutely, for the boards, and there was a bunch of other big ones too.
Yeah.
But boot wise, there was a time where Airwalk was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Their boots were that much better than everyone else's that pretty much every pro had them.
I don't even know if they were better, to be honest with you, but they had the skater thing.
Yeah.
They had the marketing.
Yeah.
And they had the money to make a push. And they gave boots to everyone.
They were the new They were not a redesigned Canadian mountain winter boot.
Yeah.
They were completely snowboard boots. They were the first ones to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else just did the knockoff of the Mount McKinley.
Yeah.
I'll show a montage of like, even Airwalk did it the first year. It was just like a Sorel boot with the upper.
Yeah.
But then the second year, they just designed out of their imaginations or something.
And that was probably a lot of Sin, like he was just like a creative genius. He was so good.
Sick.
But the boots were pretty terrible at first. If you ask anyone, like
I rode them.
Yeah. Yeah. They got better.
Boxy, heavy,
clunky, but they look cool. And they were cool because skaters, they had the skating thing going,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember, my childhood friend is Tim Swart.
Sick.
And we grew up together in Jersey. We can talk about that. But like Tim, they hired Tim. I think he was to do skateboarding. And they hired Todd Finney to do snowboarding. And they hired this other guy, Boyle, a BMX guy, all three at once to just attack.
Wow.
Find all the best athletes and hook them up with product.
Amazing.
And so Tim and Todd, and I forget the other guy's name, but anyway, they had the money and the resources, and they just exploded.
Airwalk had the first pro model skateboard shoe with Natus Copas, I think, right? I'm pretty sure about that.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, they
were crushing. They were killing it. And to work at Airwalk at that time, I can remember every year our order I worked at a snowboard shop in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Our order would double. Like, okay, we want 300 pairs of boots, 600 pairs of boots, 1,200 pairs of boots.
Yeah.
And everyone in the booth at Vegas was just running around with like a chicken with its head cut off, like so excited.
Yeah.
And just printing money, it seemed like. Airwalk was solid.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
That was their
anywhere.
heyday, was probably early mid 90s.
Yeah.
And I was, like I said, I didn't work. I was just a consultant. That was a side gig for me as the editor at Transworld.
No way.
But the whole reason that I got hired is I was obsessed with creating a step-in snowboard boot and a step-in binding. And back then, which didn't exist yet.
Right.
And I was, I hope you don't mind going back in time, but I was in college in New Hampshire, and I was competing in the New England Cup and in the late 80s. My first contest was the 87 US Open, where you got to do the qualifiers, right?
Yeah.
So, and I was in high school. I was senior in high school. I went up to Vermont. Unfortunately, 17 was the cutoff for pros versus juniors.
Right.
So I go up and I'm 17 and I'm a pro, and I got smoked. I didn't qualify in the pre-qualifiers.
Sure.
And then the next year I was in college. I was a freshman. I was at Dartmouth, which is only an hour from Stratton.
Yeah.
And I was now riding like every day because we had our own ski area.
Dartmouth's in Canada, right?
No, New Hampshire. Dartmouth is a town in Nova Scotia, but that's different. It's also a town in England. But yeah.
That's wild.
But I was riding a lot more. I got better. I was doing the New England Cups and all that. So that was like Richards and Brushy and Chris Carroll, and Coughlin was still doing them.
Swears, yeah.
And all those guys. It was amazing. So 88 pre-qualifiers. I'm a freshman in college. I actually qualified. I qualified via the moguls.
Nice.
So 88 was the first year at Stratton anyway, that they built that half pipe, that incredible half pipe that was the first one ever carved with a snowcat. So that actually was good.
Yeah.
And so they had the pre-qualifier for freestyle, it was moguls. And then for racing, I think they did like a GS. And all you had to do though is qualify in any one of those, and you were in for all four events.
Yeah.
Slalom, downhill, moguls, half pipe.
Sick.
And so I qualified in the moguls, which I was good at moguls.
Yeah.
And I think the reason I did it was kind of like the pro style moguls, where you do the moguls and then there was a jump.
Yeah.
And then moguls and then another jump.
Yeah. Mogul jump.
And so in the mogul thing, I did a 360 off one of the jumps.
Sick.
Which was kind of like no one was spinning yet.
That's huge. Yeah. That's
and it was enough to impress the judges that I qualified. And then, when I did the US Open in 88.
Yeah.
And was very middle of the pack, if not back of the pack, because I was going against the best guys. But it was really fun, and that's probably the pinnacle of my competitive career. It was all downhill from there.
When did you do the skate rags ad? Was that before or after this?
That was probably pretty close to right after that.
Yeah, so they're like, hey, you were in the world.
Like, I mean, at the time, it was it was such a small pool of competitive snowboarders.
Totally.
That if you qualified for the US Open, you were considered good, and then I also got invited to that event that they had at Purgatory, which was like the world, I don't know what it even was for. It was like the World Cup qualifier.
Yeah.
And it was all, anyway, but in that event, in the US Open, I was riding, I think we were talking about boots, right? But I was riding the yellow Koflak mountaineering boots, the bright fluorescent yellow ones that Damien rode.
Yes.
But I cut the cuff completely off of the top.
That top cuff.
I was riding plate bindings, and then I reattached the cuff, but on a pivot point on the back. So the whole cuff would pivot lateral and medial.
That early on, you had that.
Yeah. So
sick.
Because I was always like, when I've been snowboarding since 79, right? Like
what?
I hate to jump around and
I love the jump around.
This
is great. 79 in New Hampshire?
In New Jersey, where I grew up. So New Hampshire's where I eventually went to college. So I grew up in Jersey in Westfield, which is a suburb of New York City, flatlands, but it snows there, and we have golf courses. Mm-hmm. And what was bizarre is that snowboarding was huge in the early 80s and mid 80s in Westfield. We had a sporting goods store in town called All Star Sports that was probably one of the first Burton dealers.
Sure.
And even crazier, my middle school wood shop, one of the most popular things to build in wood shop was a snowboard. The woodshop guy called it a snurfer because I think they'd probably been doing it since the 60s.
Right.
They built like a press.
Right.
A mold.
No.
And this is in Roosevelt Junior High School in Westfield, New Jersey. Mr. Reynolds, the woodshop teacher. So we built snowboards. That was like every kid did it.
Oh my God. How cool is this?
And so he would get like laminates of wood and we'd glue them up. And I forget if we would heat them or whatever. And he would freaking mold them in these press. And so then you get like the blank, right?
Yeah.
That was just a rectangle with nose kick.
Yeah.
And then you got creative. And of course, I went freaking nuts.
Yeah.
And because I was a skateboard kid, since I was 10, growing up late 70s, early 80s skateboarding, that's when the skate park boom was. So we had skate parks in Jersey and Cherry Hill, that whole thing. So I was fortunate enough to be an obsessed skateboard kid. So the snowboard thing was like a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
So my first snowboard was building one in 6th or 7th grade.
Dude, that's mind-blowing.
But meanwhile, Westfield was a freaking hotbed of snowboarding.
Yeah.
And so all my friends and their friends, we all either had those things that we built, and then, you know, Burton came out in 79, the blue one originally.
Blue one in 79.
And then I remember my first board was a backhill in 1981, when it was wood clear color with the big Burton letters.
Yep.
And my friend Jeff Hurley, his brother Bruce, bought one for $50, and he kind of did it but didn't really care, and I bought it from him for $45. And I remember to this day, like, I had pennies. I had a freaking coin collect, you know, like paying, like counting the pennies. And like, okay, Bruce, like, you know, 44.96, 44.97, 44.98, like 45, you know?
I love it.
And I bought the freaking backyard from him.
Yeah.
And then immediately, it was a round tail. I guess I'm a kind of a DIY guy because, you know, again, the boots I freaking cobbled myself, right?
Yes.
We're going backward in time.
Yes.
But I clearly it's
right
it's a habit
from the
of mine.
beginning.
Yeah. I cut a swallowtail in it.
Wow.
I think I made it a quad fin because that was big in surfing back
1,
then.
2,
so
3,
I cut
4.
the metal things in 2, and
Yes.
that didn't work. So and then it had no bindings in the backyard. So I took this was actually worked really well. I took a bicycle tire, you know, which had like the steel lining wire on the inside.
Yeah.
So super strong.
Yeah.
You flip it inside out.
Yep.
And then I cut a section of it. So you had this perfect, like, round, super strong thing, bolted that to be the front binding.
Yep.
And then I took a leather belt because you know how Burton had the rubber strap. So I didn't think, I took a leather belt and bolted that to the back. So I immediately had a swallowtail quad fin bindings Burton backyard. And it was, you know, and then.
Were you worried about ruining it at all? No.
I guess not.
You just thought,
which was
I'm
stupid.
going to make these.
Yeah.
I'm going to make these improvements.
Yeah.
This is obviously.
Drilling holes in it and like just destroying it.
Wow.
So that was probably 81, 82. And then again, that sporting goods store, they had skateboards, and then they started getting Burton stuff. So all my friends, if they didn't have the homemade stuff, they would start, you know, buying the back hills and backyards.
Or they would evolve from their homemade one and get one of these.
Yeah. So by the mid 80s, Westfield was a freaking hotbed of snowboarding. We were all riding on all the golf courses. I mean, there was the idea of steel edges or anything still was not a thing. But I was always cobbling shit, and I would always just sell.
Ernie DeLost is from? Where's Ernie from?
I think he's from Rochester, New York. But that's where Snowtech is from.
Snowtech, yeah.
And shout out to Ernie because he invented like the rotational, those Snowtech boards when they came out.
Yeah.
Blew away everything. I never had one, but I'm like, oh my God.
So was he catering to like your community and communities like yours in the New England?
Snowtech never even got to us.
Never got to you.
The first place I learned about it was probably in ISM.
Right.
It never even got. Rochester, New York is way, way, way far away. It's like up by Buffalo. Yeah.
Right.
So for us, it was Burton and a little bit Sims.
Yeah.
But even then, like, as a skater, I always thought the Sim stuff was just so much cooler, you know, but like.
Right. Everybody
and better,
did.
too.
Right.
Yeah.
How far was Haddonfield from where?
So Haddonfield is by Philly, so South Jersey, so like 2 hours from me.
2 hours.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I went from not believing that Tom built a board when he was in high school to believing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've held the boards in my hands, you know, and when I held the one that he said he made in shop,
I heard that there's like a conspiracy theory now that he didn't do it.
It's a fake for sure, but I don't doubt that he did build one exactly like that when he was in high school, and then he misplaced it.
Well, like I said,
how are you going to?
It would make total sense to me because. We were building these, clearly in Roosevelt Junior High School, they had been building these Snurfers probably since Snurfers came out in the 60s.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a surprise. Yeah.
Right. Because what shop teacher's going to want to get you involved in like something fun.
Yeah.
And they figure it out and it works and it creates a little scene.
Yeah.
And so by the time you're in high school, you're ready to go to California? Like, are you feeling like California
so it's
would
a bit of
badass?
a conflict, right? When you grow up in the Northeast, right? It's a very New England or even New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, there's a strong pressure societally or from your family to go to college, to go the route, you know, like, and so I was always like, but meanwhile, I'm this kid I was smart. I was good in, I don't know, maybe because I was just supposed to be. Like I followed the rules.
Sure.
So I did well in school, but I also was obsessed with skateboarding and snowboarding and surfing. And so I always was like, there's this tug of war between the two things because historically those are polar opposite sort of directions.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And so I was like, well, if I got to go to college, I'm going to go in the mountains, right? And so, you know, like I said, I was pretty smart. So I like went to Dartmouth, which was, you know, it's Ivy League school, but it's in the mountains in New England,
Sick.
right? And Dartmouth has a huge history with ski racing. You know, like I mean, every Olympian's coming out of there. Like, what's her name? You know, who's the American skier?
I don't know skiing, but
right.
I'll know the name when I
mean,
hear
the
it.
current World Cup. Amazing.
She's out of there.
I'm embarrassed. Anyway, there's a huge history of skiing there, huge ski culture. We had our own ski area there. Didn't allow snowboarding when I got there as a freshman.
Of course.
Yeah. So I went to Wellback right down the road, which did allow it.
So there were little resorts that would they go, you know what, we'll take snowboarders, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just quick closure on the New Jersey chapter, to be fair.
Please.
For whatever reason, it was a hotbed.
Yes. A
lot of people came out of Westfield and Union County, which makes no sense, yet it happened. So, like I said, my friend Tim Swart, who huge industry guy, Airwalk, Kate was a K2 up until like 2 years ago.
Yep.
Evan Fiends from Plainfield.
Unbelievable.
Scott Downey from Rahway.
Amazing.
Paul Maravitz from Westfield. I was in, his sister was in my class. He's the founder of Rome.
Yeah.
JG from Mountainside, I could throw a Frisbee to where he lived. So I don't know if for some reason.
That's wild.
This zone in Jersey produced a lot of snowboarding alumni.
Yeah. And then Tom was from
and Tom, South Jersey. Yeah. Haddonfield, Chuck Barfoot from the LBI area.
Barfoot.
Jake was from Long Island, just over the bridge.
Yeah. And Dimitri, and then he relocated to
Great Dimitri story. Real quick, sidebar. I'm sorry.
Stories.
Like I said, I run Solite Boots right now. We're a very small, it's me and my partner Tyler in California.
Yes.
So I'm customer service, I'm finance, I'm product development. That's what I'm doing here in Asia.
Sick.
So I'm doing Solite. I get an email from a customer like, hey, what size should I, I need to get some boots. What size should I get? And it's Dmitry Malovich.
No way.
And I respond, I'm like, dude, I go, first of all, I'm honored. Legend. You never got your due.
Nah.
He was the nicest guy in the world.
So rad.
And, he's got to be in his 70s now, right? And
maybe not. He might be in his 60s.
Okay. But it's still a hardcore windsurfer. That's how he got his start, right? He's a composites guy.
So
he still goes to the Caribbean every year. Windsurfs. Anyway, he's riding my boots and his wife, and I'm stoked.
Dude, that's
and
epic.
But he was how he's always been like, didn't want to talk to media,
Zero.
bitter.
Yeah.
Maybe he still is, but I know that my buddy Gary Land, who you've probably interviewed.
I haven't had Gary on.
All right, you got to do Gary. Obviously,
sure.
He's the guy behind East Street Archives.
I've talked to him a few times.
And Barry Dugan
on the phone. Yeah,
Gary's been trying to do a Dmitry Malovich documentary forever. I don't know if
gotta get it done.
I don't know if it's happening or not. But anyway, there's my Dmitry story.
That's super sick. That's current. That's pretty rad. Actually,
so he's alive and well and shredding. So
totally.
Stoked for him.
Yeah,
respect. All his shapes are coming back. Every board it looks like his old boards.
He was snowboarding 10 years before anybody even thought about it. Like snowboarding.
Yeah.
Like actually making turns down
those clips from the 70s.
Yeah, they're so
state of the art. State of the art of like current snow surfing stuff, like
totally.
The boards, the shapes, like mad
joyful.
Respect.
Yeah, mad respect for Dimitri. It's pretty sick.
Yeah. So that was cool. Anyway, Jersey, I don't know.
So
I don't know what it is about Jersey.
You make a decision to go. Oh, you do a student exchange program. How does that come up?
So I went to school at Dartmouth in fall of '87, and I get to be full on snow. I get to snowboard. I'm stoked. I get to ride every day, either at Wellback and then we actually lobbied the Dartmouth Skiway to open the snowboarding. Had to do that song and dance where you go up with the ski patrol.
Yeah.
And we started a Dartmouth snowboarding club, and we convinced them pretty quick.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we'll do it. Not only did we convince them to open the snowboarding, the Dartmouth Skiway, they're like, we want to do a snowboarding PE program so you can get credit
Oh my god!
Because I was the instructor, the head and only instructor at Wellback. I'm like, hey, so yeah, by my sophomore year, snowboarding was a 4-credit PE class at Dartmouth at the ski school. Man. And we had a snowboarding club, and then, their kids are coming from, like, we were competing. We had the Dartmouth snowboarding team. I had freaking Brad Stewart at Sims make us Sims jackets, the green and black ones, which is our color with our logos. Yeah. And we were out there doing the New England Cups and doing everything.
Dude, that is so sick.
Yeah.
What a wonderful time to be a part of snowboarding. Everywhere you go, you meet people in the parking lot. They're snowboarding. You're like, this is the best. What board are you riding in 88?
Like, so 88, when I went to college as a freshman, I had the Cruiser, 165.
Yep. Swallowtail?
Yeah, it was a gray Swallowtail.
The Cruise is the one that had the kicktail.
No, the Cruiser, it was originally called the Cruiser.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, they changed the name to the Cruise, but it was it was a 165 gray and yellow red stripes Swallowtail.
Yeah.
So I had that, but then when I got to school, I got a pro form from Sims.
Wow.
And I remember, because I always thought Sims was cooler. Like, I was a skateboarder, right?
Yeah,
and a surfer.
Yeah.
And as much as I respect what Burton had done there, and they were in our backyard, like, Sims was just freaking cooler, And the boards were actually better back then for a while.
Totally.
And so, I don't know how I got a pro form from Sims because I was competing, and I only ordered one board. I was on the phone with them, and I was a college student with not a lot of money, and a package shows up to like the campus, mailroom, and it's 2 boards. It's a white Kidwell, and a red 1710 blade,
Damn.
and I think they were sent COD.
Oh,
pro form. And I couldn't afford it.
No, of course not.
And I don't remember what or how.
So was it a mix-up?
Yeah, it was a mix-up.
Yeah.
Like, I think I ordered one, and they sent me 2.
They sent you someone else's order.
But can you imagine you're 18 years old,
yeah,
and you open this box, and it's a white kid. Wait, I had to pay for it somehow I scraped the money together.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
And it's the white, I'm like, how can I not accept this, right?
That's a pro competitor's quiver there. A big race board and a freestyle.
Yeah. Oh, I know what it was. So I was on a Burton Air, the one with the air traffic controller on it, the first Burton Air.
Yes.
I think I got pro form from Burton. That's what it was. I got a pro form from Burton. I had a Safari Comp 2, and the Air.
Wow.
And I was doing the New England Cups on that, and then I remember I did the first, and then I got those Sims boards, and I remember going to the first half pipe contest ever on the East Coast, which was Tenny Mountain 88.
Sick.
And Brushy won that one. I think Todd Richards was second.
Wow.
And I was I think I got the blade first, and then the Kidwell came later, and I wasn't expecting it.
Right.
So that's what it was.
Okay.
So in that first contest, I was on the blade, on hard boots, on those Koflax that I cut up and made them swivelly, right?
Totally.
But it was still a 1710 blade in the freaking Tenny Mountain half pipe.
That's huge.
And so I don't think I did very well in that, but like, then between that Tenny contest, that was a New England Cup, or maybe it was a Tenny Mountain Snowboard Bash. It was like an independent contest. But then there was a New England Cup at Neshoba Valley in February.
Yeah.
First half pipe at Neshoba Valley. And between that Tenny one and the Neshoba one, the Kidwell showed up.
And it's a round tail, like a white
the white round tail, like the red one, but it was white.
God.
It was freaking dope.
That's a team board or something.
It must have been, because it was like limited edition.
Totally.
And I put the plate bindings on it and my wiggly ankle boots.
What plates are you riding at that time?
They were so I was particular because they had the Burton ones, which the Vari plates, but they had this company called SPS. Yeah, it was a European company, and the bindings pivoted. They had these elastomers in them, and so the bindings would swivel.
Yeah,
so you had flex.
Yeah,
like it was
those.
Like you could do methods and tail grab. You could I probably still looked. The style was probably horrible.
Yeah, sure.
But like it worked good enough for me. And I remember in that Neshoba contest, and again, this was like the best guy, the best of the best. They were all coming out of New England anyway. Like it was Brushy and Richards and Jason Ford and, you know, all those guys at the time. And again, there was pro division and amateur division. But the way it worked was you had the qualifying runs, like, and it was top 16 were pro, and then 17 and beyond were amateur.
Nice.
And I think, but the thing is, 17th place was first place amateur.
Yeah.
And I got 17th.
Nice.
So I was first place.
Like, I won.
Again, that was 88, and that was the year I did the Open, you know, and qualified, and that was about as good as it got for me. It's competitively. And again, I'm a college student at a tough university.
Yeah.
And even then, the writing was on the wall. Like the guys who were beating me were so much better.
Yeah.
And they were also literally like, that was like when Brushy and Ford and all those guys were living in a house and just like up by Burlington and Sugarbush and just riding every day. And they lived, that was all they were doing.
They were getting better and better.
And
better,
I'm like, and they were on the Burton team. Like I was I got free boards from Burton after that Sims thing for like a year from Copley, you know, who was the rep.
Yeah.
You know, fucking another legend, right?
Sick.
So I was getting free boards, but that was it. And those guys were on the program. And even then they were on the program. Like they were traveling all over the world.
Yeah.
And they had a trainer.
That's the start of the program. Jerry Masterpool and the whole thing.
They had a training camp at Magic Mountain, and they built a half pipe for them. And that was only like less than an hour from me at Dartmouth. And so they're like, yeah, Jamie, you can go down and you know, you're not getting the master pool training, but,
but
you can go ride with those guys. Craig was there.
Better. That's even
Craig.
better.
And I was like, oh my God.
Craig,
and I remember,
really?
but we were like Todd Richards was there. We were poaching it, you know?
Yeah.
And I do remember that Todd taught me how to do a J tear there.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, and he's like, Jamie, why do you want to learn how to do a J tear? That's so lame.
You're like, because that's what's winning everything right now?
At the moment, yeah. And I think it helped me do pretty well, like at the, remember they had the collegiate snowboard championships.
Jeez, man.
But yeah, that was it for me so competitively. There's no reason to dwell on that because that was kind of.
I like it. That's really cool. I mean, that's the, you know, a lot of people got that bug, but not that many, you know, win amateur, you know, you know what I mean? Like I was always, I think when I say 17, that's how it feels. It could have been 35. It could have been 117, but I was never in a contention for some top slot.
No, it was funny too, because I know you mentioned getting to California, right? So I could transition there. When I was in the 88 Open, I'm taking a piss in the basement of Stratton the Lodge, and taking a piss next to me is Kevin Kinnear.
So sick.
And I'm wearing my bib. So he's like, so he figured, oh, you're in and this was when I had already qualified. So he's like, oh, this guy must at least be a decent snowboarder because he's in the Open.
Sure.
And we start chatting. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a college student up the road and I'm an English major. And he heard that. And he's like, I bet this kid can write. Sick. He knows snowboarding, and I bet this kid could write.
Right.
And so he said, hey, you know, like, and that was the year, the first year Transworld had come out. So that was the 88 season. 87, there was the Dave Ock cover.
Yes.
And I think one more.
Right.
And then this was 88.
Is 88 the TDK sponsorship year, or it's the year before?
Of the Breckenridge contest? Or
was it
US Open?
Yeah, because Breck was TDK, and then
88 US
Swatch.
Open was Suzuki Samurai.
Suzuki.
Yeah.
Right.
But when I met Kevin, you know, when he went back to California after the contest, he called me up. He's like, hey, can you write? I think the first articles I ever did for Transworld, and it was in that they ended up doing an extra spring issue. I did profiles of Noah Brandon, and Jeff Brushy. So those were my first published articles in Transworld, and I was probably 19.
So you had to call up those.
I called up those dudes, in the summer.
And go to their house or something?
No, I think it was all over the phone. I mean, I knew them because I competed with them, and so I was like, hey, you know, like they knew who I was.
Sure.
I competed with them all that winter, so I knew them, and yeah, those were my first.
So how
wild cards? I think that was the issue.
Wild cards, right? I remember the issue.
Yeah, I think Victor Coyne was on the cover.
So do you like? Are you addicted to that once you start seeing yourself in print, or
I realized
are your
even
teachers
then
excited? Like, are they like, holy shit, you're published? What the hell?
I didn't even talk about that with my professors or anything.
Yeah.
Like I knew then, like, hey, like as in the snowboarding world, I'm not going to be a pro snowboarder.
Sure,
but I can write, and I can snowboard, and so and I'm getting these freelance gigs. And Kevin kept giving me more work, and he invited me to be an intern. So I went that summer I went to Oceanside.
Sick.
And lived in Oceanside. Because I was a surfer too, so I was like so excited to move to San Diego for the summer and surf.
Rad.
And it was back then. It was small. It was Fran Richards and Kevin, and that was the summer that they hired John Foster.
So
and
rad.
And we had an art director.
Oh my God. You're the first guy to go on a photo shoot with John Foster for snowboarding. Is that right?
It may have been his first or his second.
Sure. Was he already a celebrated surf photographer for
I don't know if he was celebrated, but he was like
published.
He was a Wind and Sea guy.
Wind and Sea.
And I think he did a lot for Breakout, Kevin's mag and Guy's mag, which that's how they, that whole story. I know Kevin was on.
Yeah.
And so he was one of their proteges. And I remember it was before even the summer. I was an exchange student there in the spring at UCSD, and Kevin knew I was there, and he's like, "Hey, we just got a call from Mammoth." So it's probably spring '88 or spring '89. They're like they've decided to open the snowboarding.
Rad.
June had already been open, but Mammoth wasn't. That was a big deal.
Right.
And so you want to go up there and so that was like, one of Foster's first assignments. So I'm like 19, Foster's, even then Foster was probably 40 something. Right.
Shit.
And we drive up in Foster's pickup truck or whatever.
Is he skiing around?
I don't remember if he was if he was snowboarders. Yeah. It was early days for him. He might've been skiing. Yeah. He might've been skiing still. And we show up at Mammoth, it's like May, and Palmer shows up. I want to say, I know Todd Finney was there, Airwalk guy. But before that, Todd was, another kind of OG guy. The Transworld dealer sticker, the yellow sticker that Transworld sold here?
Yes.
With the guy doing the tail grab? That's Todd Finney. Fun fact.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
So,
rad.
So Todd was there. Maybe Steve Graham was there. There's a photo, Dave Sione. There's a photo that resurfaced recently of that.
So this is like Mammoth opens to
Steve Klassen, who's still like the guy,
Wave
right?
Rave,
freaking legend,
totally.
So all those guys were there,
and
we rode around doing a photo shoot that day at Mammoth. That was the first time.
Foster.
Sonny Miller was there, so Sonny was there with like Don Zabo and Victor Coyne.
Nice.
So it was Sonny, his crew, and then and Foster and I went up, and we all basically shot together. And so if you remember some of those old 88, 89 Super Sunny Mammoth shots, that was from like that May.
So that would be peppered in the next whole year of Transworld.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because those magazines were 86 pages, 68 pages back then.
Sure.
And the entire content was probably from like 3 or 4 photographers from like 3 or 4 days.
I can't even believe that.
Yeah.
But then when you go back and look, you're like, oh my God, it's like 3 sessions. Yeah. So those guys become the guys.
Yeah.
Like Palmer and Graham and Sione back in the day was like, I think he headlined Snowboarders in Exile. It was like Sione, Graham, and Damien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, like you said, it was such a great time to be in snowboarding. Time. Like so much, everything was new.
What were people like when there were snowboarders at Mammoth for the first time?
Well, there's no one up there in May. It was empty. That's why they're like, okay, let's allow it now.
And you guys are just like, wow, check out all this terrain.
Oh my God.
Like,
It was not only that it was an awesome mountain.
Yeah.
But Mammoth, as you know, it stays open so late, and it opens like in October sometimes.
Right.
So it's just like, holy crap, we can snowboard in this service.
Because it's so high up. Is that what it is?
It's pretty high up, and the Sierra gets freaking dumped on. They measure their storms in feet, not in inches, or as you can, not in centimeters, right? They measure it in freaking feet. So when they get a good year, which is pretty often, they're snowboarding until the bike park opens, or beyond, until July.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
And they open super early. I think they got a big dump like yesterday.
I saw
some clips of people.
Yeah.
And it's October, by the way, for anyone who's
And by the way, like a couple of feet there, you can open, right?
Yeah.
Like all these mountains have gotten it to where they can open on man-made snow. So you get a natural dump of 18 inches. You're people can go up there and shred.
Yeah. So that was game changing for a lot of snowboarders because our season just got a lot longer.
Mammoth was huge. Yeah, Mammoth was huge.
Kind of like Killington on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Because like Killington was they would always try to get open before Halloween, and they would snowmaking, and they almost always did, and they would stay open till June. And so when they started allowing snowboarding right around the same time when I was in college, because Killington's a half an hour from Dartmouth. Yeah. So we were able to go to Killington when everything else shut down.
So there's legit mountains. You chose to go to school where there's legit mountains.
It was legit enough, you know. I mean,
Whiteface or whatever is like, I mean,
Lake Placid,
Lake Placid is just as big as
3,000. I think over 2,000 vertical at Whiteface. Yeah, and same with Killington.
Yeah, it's big. It's huge.
It's big, but I mean, the snow is not, it's not like Mammoth. It's not not like the Canadian Rockies. Not like, it's icy.
Coastals. Yeah.
It's icy, but I mean, this story's been told a million times. Like it creates really good technique. Absolutely. You learn how to turn. You can't fake it there.
And then when you get out west, you're like, can you believe this? Look at this.
It's too easy. Yeah, you're digging trenches like you're putting too much edge pressure in, and you're like, you just come to a stop.
Unreal.
But it's a good place definitely a good place to refine your technique. Yeah.
So Kevin hears you're down there, calls you in for an internship.
Yep.
And what's an internship at Transworld look like in --
Just do whatever you can. It was fun because it was growing so fast. There was just so much demand for creating content, to fill
What about angry interns? When does that
start? That's a few years later. That was Billy Miller. That was Billy's idea. Yeah. But yeah, when I was a summer intern so that was probably summer 88, 89. I think I did it both summers.
Yeah.
That's when they hired it. They didn't have an editor. It was Kevin. And then they hired Lee Crane to be the first real managing editor.
Yeah, right.
And I went to Mammoth with Kevin to interview Lee because he was the editor of the Mammoth Times, the weekly newspaper.
That's where he came from.
Yeah. So that was like probably the next, the 89 spring. So Lee came from Mammoth, came down, and he was the editor for a couple of years. And I remember, ultimately when I graduated in 91, I was either going to be like snowboard work for a magazine. What I really wanted to do was work for Sims. I wanted to go work for Tom. Because I loved Sims, and they were on the West Coast. I wanted to surf, and they were in Santa Barbara. It's not like he had email back then, right? So I saw him at like trade shows, and I talked to Tom. I'd be like, Tom, man, I want to come work for you. And he's like real like supportive and everything. And then I would call, and I graduated from college, and it's like July and August, and I'd call him. He wouldn't return my call, whatever. Like,
sure,
I'd see him, and like basically it didn't pan out. And I ended up getting an internship at Skiing Magazine in New York City, which was easy because my family was still there. So I was commuting to New York City, after college, and I was doing all the snowboard stuff for Skiing Magazine, which at the time they kind of did a lot because they knew it was hot.
Feature or two per episode,
and they even did a board test.
Oh wow!
They did a snowboard test with and I was a tester. So I flew out to A Basin like in May.
Wow. Yeah.
And I forget who we tested with. Oh, that was when I was living in Telluride. That was probably later, like in 90, 91.
Okay.
But yeah, so that 91 was when I graduated from college. And so they were doing snowboard, and like they were willing to pay me to be an intern in New York City. And I'm sitting there on 2 Park Avenue, New York City, in my little cubicle, and I get a call from Kevin Kinnear. And he's like, hey, we got an opening for we need another body, we need an associate editor to work under Lee, and we're going to do this thing called snowboarding. Oh, I was an intern. I was doing snowboarding business and skateboarding business. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
So when I was a summer intern, I started that.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like a 4-page newsprint thing.
Yeah. State of the industry.
Yeah.
New directions.
Yeah.
So and so's bought this company or whatever.
So I did that as an intern.
Sick.
And went back to school and graduated, and then they hired my classmate from Dartmouth, John Stauffer, who ended up working at Transworld forever, and he was an industry guy too. Yeah. And Fuel TV, blah blah blah.
Oh, Fuel TV,
he was the snowboarding business guy because he graduated a year before me.
Yep.
And then Kevin calls me when I'm sitting there in New York City, and he's like, "Hey, we need a associate editor for Transworld. You want to come out?"
Do you remember what it pays? Was it like?
Yeah, I mean, so it was
1991,
late 91, or maybe 92. No, actually, Oh man, I'm putting some things out of order.
It happens. Yeah. Yeah.
I moved to Telluride
Yep.
in November after I was at skiing as an intern.
Yep.
No, I wasn't at skiing as an intern yet. I moved to
Yeah.
Telluride,
Gotcha.
snowboard instructor,
Yeah.
just living the dream. Me and Billy Miller, that's where I met Billy, because
Sick.
he was also a writer like for Transworld.
Yeah.
And snowboarding every day, having a blast. Riding.
Telluride's like quirky and rad. Like it's like a spot you want to be.
And freaking rippers there.
Yeah.
Rocket Reeves was from there.
Sick.
He was a high school student, best snowboarder probably in the whole state of Colorado.
Love it.
Ended up riding for Ride and getting some recognition.
Totally.
The guy was amazing. But there were some rippers there, and we had a blast. And I was living with like college roommates, friends from college.
Sure.
And then the season ends, and I'm like, I go back to New York because I got that and I got the internship at skiing.
Got it.
I was still writing freelance for Transworld, and then I'm back in New York and I get the call from Kevin. So it was like June of 92. And he's like, you want to move out here? And I was out there.
That's when I was moving out there, exact same. No, a year before.
Yeah.
Year before.
So June of 92.
So he pays you what, like a salary and
I think I was like 35 grand a year.
Right, which is good for back then.
It was fine, yeah.
It's really good.
I was freaking living in Del Mar.
Yeah.
Across the street from the beach on 25th Street.
Come on.
Good luck doing that now.
Yeah.
I think my rent was like $690 a month, $690 a month.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And so how long do you live in California for?
So I was at Transworld. I started there in 92. And then Lee was there, and then Lee left to go work for like one of the first online snowboarding things. I forget.
With Jason Ford.
I think
that one?
I don't know. It was even before that.
Wow.
I think it was called Snowboarding Online. It was back when, Lee was the tech guy there, man. He got us online. We had, the modems, the dial-up modems.
Yeah. Wow.
He actually, introduced everyone to all that there. So he like was way ahead of the curve on that.
So cool.
So I took his job as managing editor, I think, for the 93-94 season of Transworld.
Rad.
Which was...
That's where
yeah.
So 94, 95.
Yeah.
You've lost a guy like me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been there since 87, reading all 64 pages frontwards, backwards, calling people in Switzerland from the numbers. Like by 94, 95, it's this thick. And I can remember the first Ford truck ad and just being like, hey, this isn't my magazine anymore. This is the mainstream masses, whatever.
Yeah.
But 93, 94, every single episode, every single issue is a banger. It's just
thank you.
Yeah.
I remember, because when I got there as an intern, there were 86 pages.
Sure. And
when I left in, I think it was probably like December 94, January 95, it was 300 plus.
300 plus.
And I had hired Eric Blem.
Love him.
Now a legend. Loved his Craig book.
Yeah, so good. Best writing.
And fortunately, Eric was ready to take over, but unfortunately, he took it over when it was like the peak.
Yeah.
I watched it go from 86 to 386.
Yeah.
And I think it peaked the next year under Eric, where it was freaking 400, 500 page. It was just, it was like, it was like this.
But in that era, like 92 to 94, the creativity and the characters, the people who got to do the trips were like a good amount of the magazine was editorial.
I'll never
and
forget
cool editorial.
Yeah, it was so great. So that was Lee, and Holden Hume was the art director, and then Joe Soren, the art director. Incredible.
Oh yeah, art, everything in it.
Joe's an amazing artist, illustrator.
Yeah.
And Billy Miller came in, and he was doing all the Angry Intern stuff and all the writing. And I mean, we had every photographer. I mean, I was so lucky, right? Because it was literally like we would do an editorial plan. We'd all get together like in Big Bear or something for like a few days, and just like, all right, what are we gonna do this year?
Sick.
And I was like, where am I gonna go this year? I'm like, I want to go to the Red Bull Aaron Style in Innsbruck.
Nice.
And I want to go to this Heli trip, and I want to go. And I want to go to the extreme contest in King of the Hill in Valdez. And I literally just wrote my freaking itinerary of what I wanted to do.
Holy shit.
And I didn't have to carry camera gear. I just had to take notes and remember and write
what
articles.
boards are you riding at this time? Are you still hard booting it? Because you could barely squeak by.
Yeah, the boots were getting better.
Yeah.
And so I started riding soft boots.
Yeah.
And
do you remember what your first soft boots were? Were they like,
I mean, I was riding soft boots at the very beginning, and then because I was working at Airwalk, I was constantly trying new stuff.
Yes.
Well, I was always developing and testing stuff.
Yeah.
The sidebar, when I was in college and I was making these wacky boots.
Yeah.
And I was also riding for Burton, just on the flow team.
Yep.
So I knew Jake, and I knew it was a small world back then. You knew all the guys. And Jake got wind of like what I was cobbling together. And he's like, hey, do you want to do some boot prototypes for us? And I'm like, hell yeah. Wow. So he basically gave me boards and gear in exchange, and he would give me all the boots and bindings I want to cut up and make Franken boots and Franken bindings. Wow. And Dartmouth had like an engineering workshop. So like a full on metal shop.
Yep.
And I was cutting up boots and making them and then testing them and sending them to Burton. If you go to that Burton archives, thing, I saw someone post it the other, couple months ago.
TK, probably,
my boots those wacky boots that I made are in there.
I love
and someone posted a picture of them, like, check these things out.
That's gotta be Tug.
So I was riding those Franken boots, which were, dig this, they were the Burton Megaflex hard boot bottom.
Yep.
Cut off at the ankle bone.
Yep.
And a Burton Freestyle top. I cut the sole off and glued the Burton Freestyle top to the Megaflex bottom, right?
Wow.
And then I took a Burton Freestyle binding, okay?
Yep.
Cut off the base plate. So it's just the high back and the heel cup.
Yep.
High back, heel cup, and ankle strap. Yep. That's it.
Yep.
Bolted that to the boot, okay?
Oh,
so,
to the boot.
To the boot.
To the boot. Right.
And that was, and then I clipped into a plate binding.
Unbelievable.
So I had a plate binding. So that was, and I rode those boots for years. And
I get it. Because here's the thing.
That's what I rode.
I remember.
I was making them for people, people in Telluride. I rode them in Telluride. People in Telluride were like, dude, those are sick. Can you make me those? I'm like, get me a pair of boots, get me a pair of hard boots, get me a pair of bindings, and I'll make them for you. And I did.
Unreal. Yeah. So when does Black's Generics start? Does it start as Black's and Generics?
So Blacks and Generics
wasn't there a year before where it was called something else?
No.
So it starts fully.
So that was the whole crew from Mistral.
Right.
Charlie Mesmer, Klaus Turner, Florian Weingartner, marketing guy. Klaus was a old ski industry guy, Austrian guy.
Yeah.
All awesome dudes. And they started Generics and Blacks as an offshoot of Mistral.
Yeah, they did a full rebrand, full name change.
Yep. And it was I remember I was at Transworld at one of the industry conferences. I think it might have been Jackson Hole or maybe Big Sky, one of those. And Klaus just kind of wanted to pick my brain because he knew I was in the middle of everything at Transworld. And he's like, he sits me down and he shows me their catalogs we're launching this brand next year. And it was full on a Burton catalog, everything, race boards, all the way to freestyle boards. They had these park boards that had aluminum edges that were this thick that were for sliding rails, crazy stuff. That was Johnny Eisenhut. I don't know if you know him, Swiss pro, super smart guy from Zurich, brilliant, and a ripping snowboarder. He's still around. So they had Johnny on the team and Tommy Bruner, remember that guy?
Bruner,
oh my God.
Yeah.
So who was a Burton guy, I think. But anyway.
Yeah, but it felt like Euro. Those two guys are very European.
Very Euro, right? But I'd never even heard of these guys.
And Mistral is from where the hell are
Germany,
they from?
I think.
Oh, they are Euro. Okay.
But the only reason that I took them seriously is because I did that skiing magazine board test that year.
Yes, yeah.
And I rode the Mistral P66 black board.
Yeah, I remember.
Made at Spalding in Italy. Super light wood core. and it won. For me, it was the best board.
I rode a George Pappas.
So similar construction.
Yeah, with the little celery stalk cut out. But the thing about it was the side cut and the width and the flex worked super well together.
It resonated with me.
But then you had to bolt.
We bolt on the bindings.
Your bindings come off.
So I
rode rad.
That board connected with me at the test. I asked him if I could. I kept it. I still have it in my basement.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The P66.
Yeah, I got the
P66 long version of it.
Yeah.
In all black. Yeah. Maybe pinstripes.
It had the side cut was probably, it was a 66, so it wasn't making slalom turns. But at A Basin in that test in spring, it was freaking. It was super light and snappy. Like it was
twin
good.
tipped. It didn't have like a real directional kind of feel to it. It was cool.
But so that's the only reason I'm like, I gotta take this guy's call. Literally, these guys clearly know. They're not idiots. They know what they're doing.
Sick.
And so I was he's like, yeah, what do you think? And I'm like, this is pretty rad.
Did they already have boots that they designed?
Well, they had Black's boots.
Those the first year they were really low.
Yeah, so they were also
tiny.
They were like the Airwalk Evolution.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
They were
injection molded lower boot.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I think they were injection molded all the way to the top. Like
no, they had like a leather stitch to the top of them, and then they had
okay.
They had an EVA heat moldable liner.
That's right. They were like super light.
Yeah.
But they were also like very flimsy. They were insanely flimsy.
Yeah.
But
actually, I'm not sure if they had those before.
Sold a lot
I think maybe that they introduced them once I started working for them. Yeah. Because I'm like, you got to use these liners.
Right.
And so
maybe there was the first ones were like cloth, like kind of old Airwalk.
The first ones weren't. They were more like Airwalk ones.
And they didn't need to get lighter because the outer was so light compared to everything else. But then when you put them with a Intuition style heat molding liner, they had no weight.
Yeah.
You pick up a box and you think, oh, there's only one in here.
Yeah, and they made the toe and heel like super angled.
Angled. Yeah.
So you didn't have toe drag. But so I was impressed enough with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I also realized, like, if I'm going to go try to work for Burton or something, I'm going to be like a small cog and a big wheel.
Yep, there's people already.
And maybe if I told Klaus, I'm like, hey man, like, I'm interested in, because they had no U.S. distribution. He was basically picking my brain, like, how do we set up in the U.S.? Like, he didn't want to do it through Mistral, or maybe Mistral had imploded at that point. I don't know.
Yeah.
And long story short is, he basically hired me to set up generics and blacks in the U.S.
Cool.
And so.
Did you, when you were hired there, did you already have the idea for that step in with the two pins on the side in your?
The Intech was not my idea, but I had the pivoting high back thing from my boots, right?
Right.
And Charlie Meiselman, who was the product guy at Generics and Blacks, he developed something for a boot called the I-Spine, and it was an internal pivoting high back that fit inside the boot, and it was basically my idea, but on the inside, not on the outside. Right. Mine was on the outside like a high back. His was an internal spine.
Right. So were they modular? You could take those out and have a real soft boot.
Yeah.
Put those in, and you could kind of race in them or whatever.
It was in theory pretty
like
cool.
Like a Kelly tongue, but for the reverse.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember the they had like strapping on them or something, and
they had just a cable, like a metal cable going from the top of the high back down to the base plate that would keep it, and then you could adjust the cable like with a latch.
Right.
And that was on the inside of the boot, but it would stick out on the back of the boot, so you could also undo the latch and it would release the forward lean, so you could walk in them.
Yeah.
But so you just take a regular soft binding and take the high back off,
right,
and ride them.
Right.
So cool stuff. So that was already, they had pitched that. That was already there, and I'm like, man, I like the way these guys think. Like,
cool.
This is so I went to work for them, and set up Generics and Blacks USA. We set it up in Massachusetts, in Boston.
Wild.
And I hired Gary Land,
nice
photographer legend, who was a struggling photographer then in Killington, to be my customer service guy. We got John Camp, pro rider, Ripper, to be our team manager, who's also one of our team riders. We had Aaron Hawkins, who's a guy from Virginia, super artistic guy. We ended up, a lot of stories with Aaron, but he hired Glenn E. Friedman to do we made these underground videos that very few people have seen that were freaking insane.
I've seen them.
You see blood, sweat, and grease paint?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Okay, so we did some cool shit.
Very cool. Who was your rep? Do you remember your rep in Western Canada? Was it Harvey Soicher?
Yes.
It was, right?
Yeah. So Harvey and that crew was like I think they were from the old Mistral Canada guys.
Yeah. I don't know if he did Mistral. He was O'Neill, and before that,
I remember
Kemper
Harvey.
and a couple of things. Maybe he did Mistral.
So we were doing some really cool stuff. But that was when snowboarding was exploding. And that was like when Ride came out, and we were one in it. And it was, I got to tell you, it was tough to build that brand, to build a new brand in this was 93, 94, 95, to build or later. Actually, I think I left Transworld 95. So the generics and blacks, we started in the US 95.
Yeah.
So those next few years,
95, 96,
yeah, I was like there 95 to 98, and then went to work at Burton. So that window, those 3 years, was when I was trying to build generics and blacks in the States.
Yeah.
And it was tough because that was the explosion. We were talking about how the magazines became this big.
It was the explosion. Those were the years.
And to be quite honest, a lot of our products weren't that good.
It was, that's right. It was the first time that we had, listen, you could have products that weren't good before, but there just was so few of them that there was never anything left over.
Yep.
But Blacks Generics was a huge closeout buy that we could buy in Canada, right?
Probably
Harvey comes and goes like, hey, they got all this left over and they're willing to sell it for cheap.
That was probably after, after my time.
Yeah.
But the bindings, they're okay. But I kept going I would go to, because I was a big product guy, right? And I'm like, our shit is not good enough.
Right.
Our side cuts are off.
Right.
Our flexes are off. The boards are too heavy. The bindings are too flexible. I'm like, if you can't make a binding as good as a Burton binding, why bother?
Yeah.
We're going to get smoked.
Yeah.
And so I would just keep going over for 2 weeks at a time to Munich, and Aaron would come over, and we would just be hammering Charlie and the product team over there.
Yeah.
Guys, we're just not going to compete, And eventually the stuff got better. But, by the end, when we...
Didn't they change the name to Duotone or something? I forget.
Well, the first thing, which was a terrible idea. Well, first of all, when I got there, I kept saying, "Hey, generics is a terrible name. Terrible name."
Yeah.
I'm like, "You got to change the name. You got to change the name."
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, we can't." Blah blah blah. And finally, they compromised, and compromise is never a good thing creatively, right? So they're like, "Okay, we're gonna do." Generics is going to be the umbrella name, but we're going to have 4 different board lines. We're going to have True, which was the free riding boards.
Oh yeah.
And then we're gonna have AK, which is the big dog, the big board. So the AK board. We had Jay Liska, Nick Parada, heavy hitters. Yeah. We had all these guys. Tex, we had Tex Davenport. So those guys were all the AK guys.
Yeah.
These 160, 170, 180 boards.
I remember them.
And then True, we had that was Bruner and Hugh. In Canada,
Hugh Fraser.
God, great dudes. We had such a good time. We were doing photo shoots with hired Gallup and
Sick.
in Canada, cat stuff. I mean, it was fun while it lasted, but
heyday stuff. This is heyday stuff.
Yeah,
where you're projecting next year. If we double again, we're all rich.
Yeah, it wasn't even about the money. It was we were doing really fun, creative stuff.
Yes,
and we were having a go at it.
Yeah,
and so it was AK, True, Park, which were these snub nose jib boards with the aluminum rails that were 1 inch wide and then the steel edge. So the idea is you could go on a rail and it wouldn't damage your edges.
Sure.
And so at Park, and that was Joe Soren Graphics. I got him from remember the Transworld art director.
Yeah,
cool stuff. We hired all these amazing artists to do all the graphics. And then the last one was the IQ, which were the race boards and the carving boards.
Yeah.
So we had 4 brands.
Yeah.
And we literally took out in Transworld ads for all 4 brands. Oh, and blacks, the boots. So we had 5 brands.
Right.
So it was a big shit show, but it was fun.
And those ads are whatever they were.
Remember the Rock'em Sock'em Robots ads we did with blacks?
Yes,
dude.
Totally. But there's so much going on at that time.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's easy for a brand to get lost in the shuffle if there's not a brand identity push. You guys were beautiful marketing. I remember
but the product just wasn't good enough.
I remember the brochures were next level. Everything was right.
Yeah. But the boards themselves and nothing was that good. And I worked my ass off, and our guys, we all worked our ass off to get there. And by the time I left, and we had we kind of rebranded it around. Aaron decided he's like, we can't fight this. Let's just try to make generics cool somehow.
Right.
And we got incredible artists. Like I said, we got Friedman. We did these crazy videos. Yeah. And the boards actually, right when
they got to function.
When I left, the boards got good, but at the same time, the brand wasn't really picking up any momentum in the States anyway.
Yeah.
And And it was literally just me and Gary at this point, like in a little freaking cubicle.
Yeah.
And we see the writing on the wall. And that's when I got recruited for the Burton boot job, because I had some history there doing all, as a rider and doing all the cobbling, all the boots.
So then what's the Burton boot job? Like they
needed a category manager to basically run boots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that was 98.
You had to move to Burlington.
I had to move to Burlington. And that was like, my wife was pregnant with our first son, Jack, and we were living in Boston. She worked at Fidelity.
Yeah.
And I moved to Burlington and lived in an apartment with a friend of a friend who was like the Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch rep for Burlington area. Oh my God. So that was good perks.
Yeah.
But his apartment was on Church Street in downtown Burlington, that walkway.
Yep.
Next to Jake. Jake had an apartment in Burlington too.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
Yeah, Jake had an apartment in Burlington for like when he would spend late nights in the office, which was a lot.
Yep.
And he didn't want to drive to Stowe.
He'd just drive
He'd just go to his apartment. Yeah. And I would always steal Jake's parking spot because he was never there until the one time that he was there and he got pissed at me.
Did he? Yeah. So talk about Jake. I like by all accounts, he's a fiercely competitive person, whether he's playing ping pong with you casually or if he's in business and he sees that you're doing something that's cutting edge or whatever. That, I mean, right at this future moment, like this present moment, I'm in China with Ken, and he's come up with a little add-on for the step-ons that is, I think the Burton guys looked at it and went like, oh yeah, we're gonna probably do something like that, if it was Jake, he'd be like,
Ken. Jake would probably, license it from him, or Burton might have already developed it.
Right. He would have caught wind of it and gone like, we got to get ahead of this guy.
But Jake, I mean, I always kind of idolized the guy growing up, right? I basically was like, when I was like in high school and stuff, I'm like, I just kind of wished that I were him. Like if I could be anyone, he's the guy. And that's seeing him not before I knew him. And again, I also knew him and I still felt the same way.
Wow.
But even though he fired me, but which is another story, not that interesting of a story. But as you said, he is the most competitive person I think I've ever met. And it's the reason he was successful. I think you could say the same about Tom Sims. And it's also the reason why those guys didn't like each other.
Right.
Because they were both going after the same target. And they were hard-headed and so competitive. You know how Jake, every year in the fall, they have the fall bash in his house?
Just happened, yeah.
Okay, so it's right now, October usually.
Yeah.
So I'm at the fall bash, and then that whole thing started as a touch football game. A fun thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's a touch football game, and we're playing touch football, and I'm playing wide receiver. Jake is guarding me. He's whatever, a cornerback. And I catch a touchdown pass in the end zone, the edge of the end zone. I pull it down, touchdown. Jake freaks out. You're out of bounds. You're out of bounds. That is no good. Not a completion.
Wow.
Dead serious.
Yeah.
And I'm like haven't been there a year, and I'm just like, okay.
Whatever you say,
but that says it all, right?
Yeah.
And it's why, Burton became what it became. The other story that's not told enough, is why Burton, you combine that with Donna's family money. They don't talk about that.
Right.
They don't even talk about it too much. She hints at it. She's interviewed with you, right? And she's in.
Yeah, I mean,
all due respect,
she said they were able to do the company without loans from her family. That they got bank financing for everything that they did
at some point. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure not at the very beginning.
Yeah, possibly at the beginning.
I mean, and believe me, I'm not making an excuse.
Yeah.
Because his drive to succeed and everyone around him is what got them where they got.
Absolutely.
But imagine you're, 1979, 1980, and he had resources. He had a backup, and he had the ability to keep going and keep pushing.
Even
keep
without
building.
Sales, right? When the first
he had
sales fall through and people are sending boards back.
Yeah.
He's not like, oh, well, I'm done. There's all my money.
That's why he made a lot of progress where Jake, where Sims and where Barfoot were stalling out, or where Sims had to sell to Brad Dorfman. Like Jake didn't have to do it. Jake never had to sell out.
Right.
He kept it in house.
Donna did talk about how they managed their money and how important that was. And I think fairly early on, she becomes CFO.
Yeah.
Or like,
she was, when I was there, she was there. She also had her supermarket in Stowe.
Yeah.
But she was always actively involved.
Right? Yeah. That I've heard that was a pretty sick spot.
Yeah.
But then also a spot like if they want to throw parties and they want to buy imported sick expensive shit, they've got it right there. They can grab it from their own grocery store.
I mean, you see with Burton, right? You see the story that they want to tell.
Sure.
But for sure, that guy was cutthroat. Like I said, like
yes,
he was cutthroat.
But he also, I was talking about this with Ken's daughter in the van on a drive somewhere. Like at some point, he looked around and said, "Look, you're the only executive who's a woman in any of these meetings." Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't we change that?
Yeah.
And according to Donna, 15, 16 years later, because it's a long slog.
Yeah.
It's like 50-50 women executives at Burton, which not for a financial reason, just for like being good people.
Yeah. No, I mean, they were in a position to be very open-minded about developing their business and where they want, they did chill way back when.
Right.
Like they were ahead of the game on a lot of things because they were in a financial position to do it. Like they had, when I was there, like we could have budget meetings, right? But it was like, money was never an issue. They were crushing it. Crushing it.
Yeah. So what was your job there? I
was a category manager for boots. I was there for barely a year.
So then are you managing a bunch of designers?
Managing designers, developers, product managers. Guys. We had a liner guy. We had a soft boot guy. This was when the SI just came out.
Right. That's what I want to hear about.
The step in.
Yeah.
So we had a step-in binding guy, a step-in boot guy, a lot of great people who I'm still in touch with today. Like Pete Curran was and Mike Paquette was at Suzanne.
Sick.
All the people from Burton went cool places, right? It was like training school for other really cool brands.
What's your category? Like staffing, like 20 people, 30 people.
Yeah, we also had in Europe was where the hard boots and bindings were being done.
They were still going hard boots at that time.
Yeah, we had everything then. That was a heyday, man. Like the turn of the century.
Yes,
is when we were still full speed making everything.
Everything, all categories,
race stuff, carved stuff, step in, soft, everything. And actually, I think when I left to step in the SI, it was only like a year or two into it. It was almost 50% of what we were doing.
Isn't that wild that happened and then it went bam, it's just gone.
I never, I basically, when I was done with Burton, I came up with this wave pool idea and ended up going back to business school and just kind of like being like, okay, I'm done with snowboarding. Like I've been through it.
It burned you a little bit, or you just?
I just felt, it wasn't like it burned me, but I felt like there's nothing more else I really want to do in snowboarding unless I'm like the boss.
That's pretty sick.
Not like in a satisfied way.
Not at all.
It was like,
I hear what you're saying. Like,
but it's like, unless you're the boss and you own the company, you're working for the man. That was the other thing about Burton is it chewed people up and spit them out. Jake he kept the equity to himself,
Yeah.
Maybe I would do the same thing. I don't know. But like, yeah, I mean, unless you're the boss.
That's a really difficult one, right? Because you pay people. I've always been on the get paid side, and the people who get paid are in direct conflict with the people who pay.
Yeah,
the people who pay want to get the most for their money. The people who get paid want to get the most for their work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can recognize as someone who gets paid that there is an amount of money where I'm going to be shitty at my job. Mm-hmm. Like you got to ride that kind of fine line where it's like, oh, if you are better at your job, we'll pay you a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so then you're also kind of holding it back a bit going, well, I'm not going to like fully excel and blow it for like $1 an hour raise or something, right? Yeah. Like we'll give it to them in increments. But, in my early work career, I was given 100%.
Yeah, you have to.
I thought you would get out of it. They would give you the money eventually, and they dangle the carrot and say like, we just need to see those sales, or we need to see something, and then you come with the sales. You go, look, here's the store, here's where it was, here's where I took it. This is, but then also the owners can go, well, this was a great year, right? Mm-hmm. The snow hit, and everything's blowing up. How much of that is you? How much of that is snow? Do you want to take a pay cut if it's a bad snow year next year, or
right.
what do you?
I mean, a lot of companies are smart. They have profit sharing. We do well, you do well, all that.
I
but
think,
I think that was lacking. Yeah, right. I think, but what the point is, like after Burton, I was kind of like I've always been entrepreneurial, right? I've always like.
Yeah, you're making boots.
Yeah, I've always wanted to kind of DIY things, you know, and that's when, I'm sitting there in Vermont without a job, right? Like, what am I going to do next? And I came up with the wave pool idea.
What's the wave pool idea?
There's surf parks now all over, right? That's the idea. But it was in 1999.
Because there's like the standing wave.
No, real wave. I mean, flow riders existed, back then. But I wanted to make a real wave, like a proper I was always a surfer.
Yes.
Always in the East Coast, always frustrated because the surf always, usually sucked.
Yeah.
And I'd seen Typhoon Lagoon, so there were wave pools that were surfable.
So what was Typhoon Lagoon?
I was in Orlando at Disney World, and it was a surfable wave pool. And
is that the one that was in North Shore or whatever?
No, that one was like in probably the one in Palm Springs.
Because those were shitty.
Yeah,
waves.
they were shitty, but you could see a glimpse. You could see like, hey, what if you just put more horsepower into that or design that?
Sure.
I'm like, this can't be a big leap to make a really cool surfing wave in a pool, and. So I kind of got obsessed with that.
What was your idea? Where did you fall on the idea? Like that one where it plummets
I didn't
down
know, right? The toilet flush one.
Or the train one.
Yeah.
Where were you at that time in 99?
At that time, the internet had finally existed, but it was still like dial-up modems, and you could kind of do a little bit of internet research.
Yeah.
There was an industry who built wave pools for water parks. Some of them like toilets where you flush the water and it comes out and makes a wave.
There's like a baffle
and there's some where caissons and plenums, which is you pressurized air, you introduce it into the plenum, which is the water chamber, and it pushes the water down into the pool, makes a wave. Yeah. So there was technologies that existed in water parks. And I realized I can go to I went to the IAAPA trade show in the International Association of Amusements or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And all the water park companies would exhibit there. And I was going around like, hey, can you make a wave pool? I guess a big wave. Make me a 6-foot wave that like I can surf. Some guys were like, "Shut up, kid, get out of here."
Are you drawing pictures?
Yeah, I would draw pictures. Like here's what I have. We all did that, right?
Yeah,
Here's what I have in mind. Would it work? Can you make it? And I just did like the research.
Yeah,
and I found one of the wave pool one of the biggest one that has made the most wave systems, Aquatic Development Group out of Albany, New York. They're like, yeah, we could make you a 6-foot wave. Like, no problem.
Consistent 6-foot wave.
But we don't know how to make the pool that shape that you want. Like, you should find someone. So I found these guys in New Zealand that were PhDs and they were surfers and they had mapped the reefs of the world with like sonar.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, Mike, we can make you a pool, right? So
yeah,
dude, remember, like we were making it up on the fly, and somehow while I had this idea developing in my head, I'm like, shit, I don't really know much about running a business. I've always been an employee.
Yeah.
I decided to go back to school, and it's a good way to bide time productively, right? So I go to business school in New York, and while I'm in school, I'm developing this business plan for the wave pool.
And
it was cool.
Where does the first one go?
So, I get out of business school. It's only a year and a half business school.
Yeah.
I have a fully formed business plan. I have the tech kind of half, like we made like, prototype scale models.
Sure. Yeah.
And I go out and try to raise money. And I think I graduated business school in 2021 or 20. I mean, sorry, take 20 years off of that.
Yeah,
2001.
Sure.
And it took 3 years to raise the money and to find a site in Orlando and a team and like.
How are you surviving?
My wife works. My wife, shout out to Lisa for essentially bankrolling.
Dude, that's epic. That's actually epic.
Frivolities.
Yeah,
for all these years.
School and trying to raise money. She's just there going like, I believe in you and you can do it.
I married up. Yeah. So shout out to Lisa.
Sick.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm basically, she's essentially the breadwinner while I'm doing all these wacky things.
Yeah.
And I mean, eventually when we raised money, I was able to get paid by, doing this thing. But
of course.
It was a spectacular failure, the wave pool.
No,
Yes.
what are you talking about?
Well, believe me,
So
if it weren't, we wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be like, some wave pool king with 50 pools, and the whole industry would be different.
Right.
So we tried to build this thing in 2004 in Orlando.
Okay.
We had Ron John as a kind of name. It was a Ron John surf park.
Yeah.
And we built this pool. It was 2 pools, a beginner pool and a pro pool.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, we're going to build a beginner pool. The floor of the pool was adjustable with a computer.
Amazing.
And hydraulic rams and these things so you could make a left or a right and you could change it.
Wow.
It was way over. Like, I tell people, like, we tried to hit a grand slam and I should have just gone for like a single. It was way too ambitious. It was way too ambitious, and I was too optimistic that it was going to work. And all the signs that, oh shit, this isn't going to work, were on the table. I could see it.
You just ignored them? Or
I didn't ignore them, but what was I supposed to do?
Yeah,
I'm in too deep. Like, we got to try, right?
Yeah, they'll sort themselves out as we go.
Maybe
we'll find a solution.
Yeah,
right,
I thought maybe we'd sort it out, and so we made waves, and the waves were good in the pool. Great old like archival videos that are
rad,
and like we had pro surfers come, but the machine, the floor kept breaking and exploding in a million pieces.
Oh no!
But it was, it was what, 5 years of my life.
Yeah.
That ended in spectacular failure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know how much you learn from failure? Like, it's the greatest thing ever. Everything.
Yeah.
So I left that, like, I still think this is a brilliant idea. I hope it happens someday. Maybe I'll do it someday.
Right. Which is, okay, so the fully formed idea is a series of water parks that they could have like a World Surf League at or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I
have consistent rights and lefts that you can program depending on.
I just looked at it from
different times of day or whatever. It's expert hour,
which is happening here. It's all around us now. Like it's totally happening.
Yeah.
And I looked at it then as a frustrated surfer. I'm like, I just want to surf more in good waves.
Yeah.
And it's not like the
good
only way
waves are getting crowded and they're far away. And
you go on trips and like it's just full of the lineups are packed. It's just like, this is not sustainable.
And if it's not firing when you get there, you just blew the entire trip.
Yeah.
The whole trip's for nothing.
Yeah. So that theory, that hypothesis still holds.
Yeah.
And it's playing out. I mean, now surf parks are being built everywhere.
The train parks are. So what I understand from listening to Pinch My Salt, which is a Florida surfer doing a podcast kind of like this.
Sterling Spencer's freaking hilarious.
Insane, right? He's so funny.
Love it. Yeah.
And his cousin, they're the best.
Yeah.
But they were saying that skateboarders are now surfing these train parks and doing airs in a way that's not like how surf airs have been.
Yeah.
Surfing is this weird thing. Saw
those Pedro Barros clips from
Oh, they're insane. So my theory of the board sports hierarchy is they're all brothers, right? Surfing's not the grandfather and skating the dad or whatever.
Yeah.
They all kind of happen at the same time. Surfing's the older brother, and so it had a harder path because Dave the Weaver's dad going like, why are you following these trivial pursuits? You're supposed to get a real job or whatever. Whereas like the McMorris brothers now, their parents are like, you guys are doing great, great work. You're going to be rich and famous. This is awesome, right? Yeah. But I think surfing is quirky and weird to people who are purist, like snowboard, like this grab is this and that grab is that and this spin is this and that spin is that. Surfing kind of has their own everything. Like double grabbing airs is like wave surfing. It's not kooky. Whereas double grabbing,
it will be eventually. It will
now
be
it is because you've got skateboarders coming back in, just like Noah and those guys came in and turned snowboarding on its head.
Yeah. No, it's happening in surfing because
grabs and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, airs in surfing at the beginning, they're freaking hard, right?
Yeah.
I'm not doing one.
And purist Hawaiians were like, airs aren't surfing.
Right.
Like they're going like, this shit's not even surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, but now that there's wave pools and you get that repetitive surface to practice your airs, double grab airs are going to be lame, because again, the standard is always going to be, for airs anyway, is going to be skateboarding, right? No bindings. And so it's like the same for snowboarding, right? Like skate style is still the style.
Yeah. I think skateboarding just blew up because accessibility was so huge.
Yeah.
You could just go, right. Surfing, I've never envied surfing because there's no spots to do it. Really, there's like 20 spots in the world.
There's a lot of barriers to entry, even though you think you can just walk up on any beach and surf.
You can't.
But the learning curve is it's not even like the localism thing. It's so hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And then what you're doing, the incentive isn't that big.
Yeah.
Like I can take my snowboard in a ditch at the side of any mountain I go to and kind of stand on it and do a bottom turn and strap on a snowboard at the top of a Valdez run.
Yeah, you're getting 1,000 turns.
Yeah.
Bottom turns. Yeah.
Like 1,000,000. Like it's insane.
And yet surfing is still my favorite sport of all of them.
Right. I understand.
And I'm 56. I've been surfing since I'm 11.
Yeah.
I still think I suck at it.
Yes.
And so, that's the big motivator, right? Is like you want to get better. You want to progress.
It's really hard.
And I mean, and now I've gotten in a couple of these wave pools, and in one session, I'll make a year's worth of progress because you got a repeatable surface. So that's awesome.
What's your favorite kind of wave to ride if it's a surf pool wave?
So I was lucky enough. I haven't surfed the Slater one, but that one to me doesn't look.
The to Texas me, that looks, wave. Yeah.
No, the one in Lemoore in California.
Oh, okay.
Because that one is really long and really perfect and really expensive. And so if you fall, that's like $500 out the window.
Oh,
so it's high pressure.
Right.
I was fortunate enough because I'm actually still in the game. I'm going full circle, trying to develop a wave pool in New Jersey right now, which is what my original business plan was. It was in New Jersey.
Wow.
And I called it Surf Dome. I wanted to build an indoor wave pool in New Jersey.
Wow.
Now I'm working on a business to build indoor wave pool in New Jersey called Surf Dome. So we are full circle. That said, in my research for this new project, I got invited to go surf the pool down in Brazil, Boa Vista, which is a private community outside of Sao Paulo.
Oh, yeah. They're using it to sell real estate.
Yeah.
Because there's
so you got to buy the apartment or the condo.
Yeah.
And then you buy the membership to the surf pool.
Right.
This thing is, the wave is about... You can get like 6 solid turns. It's over 100 yards, head high. They obviously can adjust it to be a barrel or a turns wave.
All water wave. There's no surface underneath.
No, it's a legit wave pool. You've seen clips of it, and they built another one now in Sao Paulo Surf Club. Yeah, there's the one in Munich that's similar technology but different. I think those are. I mean, you're getting like this.
What's creating the wave? A train?
Air pressure.
Air pressure.
Yeah, caissons and behind the wall of the pool. Yeah. You don't see all the magic.
Right.
But it's pressurized air chambers just pushing
so you think that's
one out at
right
a time.
One. Yeah. And
in my opinion, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of flowing water over. It looks so fun. The one down in like right in the center of Washington. You can carve back and forth.
Oh, that's like a standing wave.
It's a standing wave, but it's deep water standing wave.
Yeah, you can ride a real board in it. Yeah.
Right. People are riding fin boards.
Now, I'm a surfer, so like that doesn't appeal to me as much. I want to paddle into a wave and take off.
Yeah,
and surf
that's more of a wakeboarding wave or a wake surfing wave, where the water's flowing in a way that it's a different way.
But what's cool now is like versus when I was trying to raise money for this thing 20 years ago. Is the technology is no longer the risk.
So you got the technology and you've already done one before. So you can be like, look, I've done, I understand.
I've been through this, eyes wide open.
Eyes wide open. I've had a failure under my belt. This is the time to make knock it out of the park one. Yeah. That's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
So also the reason you're here, you've got I was going to say little, I have no idea. You've got a company that's making surf booties.
It is little, I guess.
Yeah.
Solite. If you're in the surfing world, you probably heard of us. We've been around about 10 years. And again, it comes back full circle to my experience back in the day with snowboard boots and even with those heat moldable liners.
Yeah.
With Intuition liners. I made heat moldable surf booties. Again, I'm a cold water surfer, grew up in Jersey, a lot of time in the Northeast. Water's freezing there. Booties are a necessity.
Yep.
And I came up with the idea. Originally, it was I hated surf gloves because they were really cumbersome and they always ripped.
Yep.
And I wanted to make an injection molded one-piece surf glove out of that same heat moldable material. So I made it, and it looked like a Hulk hand. You know those green Hulk hands?
Yeah.
It looked like that, and it worked horribly.
Yeah.
And I met with a surf industry guy that I know. He was one of the investors in surf parks back in the day, Tyler Calloway. And he's a old school surf industry guy from New York, Long Island, ran FCS for many years. So cool. I really trusted his, and I'm like, I showed him the glove thing, you know, and he's like, that's pretty cool. He's like, but I think you should make boots. That's your wheelhouse. It's a much bigger market than gloves.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, I'll go into business with you. Let's partner on this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he obviously opened a lot of doors in the surf world and everything. And because I was never a surf industry guy, I was a snowboard industry guy. There's a lot of crossover.
Sure.
But so again, that was R&D for a couple of years, coming over here to Asia, making stuff, and which I knew how to do from the Burton stuff and the Airwalk stuff, and making stuff and testing it and going back and giving it to like pros in Jersey and stuff like, and letting them, you know, give me their opinions. And we got a cover shot in ESM, Eastern Surf, Sam Hammer, in our boots before we were a company.
Oh, I love
And I'm like,
this.
that was for me. I'm like, okay, I think we got something here.
Yep.
And we launched Solite in fall 2016, I think. It was actually originally a collab with Body Glove.
Okay. Yeah.
And because we're like, oh, we'll just license it to all these brands.
Sure.
And then the Body Glove thing was okay, but we ended up not doing a lot of big numbers with them. And Tyler and I were like, well, we've been around. Like, let's just start our own brand. We'll do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So the next winter, we launched ourselves. And so I've been doing that ever since. You know, it's been growing. We have a unique position in the marketplace. We have patented heat moldable boots.
Sick.
We started doing gloves, not Hulk hands, but we started doing gloves. And you know, we do these cool hats. This is a Yankee hat, but we do like surf hats that are reversible visor. So when you're duck diving, you can flip the visor behind you.
That's awesome.
We're doing rash guards.
You're inventing stuff in surfing.
Yeah, so
that's
it's the same.
That's nuts.
And that's the only thing that's interesting to me is because the surf industry never interested me. I'm like, it's all kind of the same stuff with different logos. All the wetsuits, quite frankly, are made in the same factory with the same materials and different logos and different line. It's like, that doesn't interest me. I want to innovate something. And so that's every product that we do. And this is not an ad for Solite, but like every product that we do, I'm only going to do it if I'm bringing something new to the table that's actually better. Like that's kind of like what Ken's doing with his step-in, augmenting the step-in system. Like you're improving people's happiness. Yeah. Right? Like their performance. It's all, if you perform well, if you have fun, then, you know, that's the name of the game. So that's kind of our ethos with
there's also a bit of a competitive thing in there, like the Jake thing, where it's like getting ahead of the game. Yeah. Finding a niche that's like gonna make it more fun, but the big guys are missing it because it's a niche doing the thing, right?
So
like,
let's keep it quiet.
Yeah.
I don't want any. It's kind of like when Nixon came out, like everybody was ignoring the watches and action sports, and they just came in and like, what, you know? Yeah. So we kind of do that, but I don't want to. We're doing it kind of low profile, underground.
There has to be room for fun companies that are people who do the thing.
We're now more than ever with what's going on with, Authentic Brands Group basically owns the surf industry, and good for Jamie. I know you interviewed him. Like the guy's not apologetic about what he does or what he and
he's not out there surfing for sure. Yeah, and he's not going to build surf. Places for him to go surf. Like
all these brands are not surfer own brands anymore.
No,
we're a little surfer own brand. I'd like to hope that resonates with people. We're doing it for the right reasons. And that's my motivation, is just making cool stuff. And that's why, dude, I'm in the middle of China, developing new surf boots. Like, what the hell?
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. What a trip, dude.
But it's so much fun.
Is there any more things that we missed? Like, did we miss an era of snowboarding for you that, like, do you snowboard now too?
Not nearly as much, right? Like, I'm all about quality over quantity.
Come stay at Ken's place.
Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, exactly. FNRad shout-outs to everyone who's bought a ticket to our raffle. We're almost a quarter of the way to our modest goal. you really have a great chance of winning a board or some other prizes, like a Flojoy prize pack, mailed to you directly from Chris Roach himself. Special thanks to Jamie Meiselman and all our Patreon listeners who support the show directly with their hard-earned cash. And hey, thank you to Parker for setting up our website, FNRadpodcast.com. It looks great, and Parker did a rad job on every detail. Reach out to me if you, the listener, need a website, and I'll link you up with Parker. He's the best. Be sure to come back next week for another episode of FNRad, presented by Flojoy and brought to you by FNRad Productions.